Hey y'all, this is Kylan, and you're watching Mission 2 of Wholesale Violence with Kylan. So now, if you watched the video on Mission 1, you know that this is all about just action. And, and I talk about how I love the Kung Fu movies. And so I looked out, I stumbled across a movie, came across my YouTube channel called Shaolin Blues. It has the three things that I absolutely love: Memphis, my hometown, Kung Fu, and action, all in this one movie. It's awesome. And so I took a shot and I said, I did some research. I figured I would look to see if we could find out, maybe I could talk to the star of the show, the director, see what we can get. And I ended up meeting a super awesome guy. So I have with us for Mission 2, but my first interview for this new project, Ryan McCrory. So, hey, Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Ryan, thank you for saying yes. I appreciate it. So Ryan, you know what? I know. So just give me your background, man. Tell us about Ryan.
Okay, so I'm a filmmaker and a martial artist and an actor. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, born and raised, and I guess I got into the filmmaking about 2 years ago, but I've been acting a lot longer than that, and it just sort of came from, I was trying to get into the acting scene, but I wanted to play certain types of roles, and there weren't really a lot of opportunities to play to be in action type movies. Not a lot of local independent filmmakers are doing that. And I thought, well, I'm never going to, get an opportunity to audition for any big action projects if I don't show people that I can do that. So I decided to start writing and producing my own films that I could be in to try to get that experience. So maybe, going forward, I could get in some bigger level projects and also just find out if that was something for me. And if I liked it. It turns out I love it. I really like doing the choreography and the stunt work and stuff. And it's turned out to be a lot of fun. So yeah, I've produced 3 short films now with the action scenes in them.
Okay. And so obviously there was Shaolin Blues. What were the other 2 projects?
The other 2 projects, the first one was a Western I did called No Angels in the Shape of Men, which I kind of got inspired. I was playing that Red Dead Redemption 2 video game, and I was obsessed with it. And I was just like, man, this is so cool. I just want to do a cowboy thing. And so I did that with some friends of mine in town and some people I went to college with, and kind of threw together this low budget Western. And that's also on my my YouTube channel, Blue Lion Pictures. You can watch. We put it in film festivals for a little while, and it did a lot better than I expected, just being my first film and all. And I'm happy with how it turned out. We took a big swing. We had a horse and we had a child actor, and it was outside in December. And it was a big, I didn't realize how big of an ambitious project I was taking on until we got into it. But I learned a lot. So, it was definitely worth it. And then the other one, I did a Cowboy Bebop fan film called Space Cowboy, which is also on YouTube, but it's on the Mason Studios YouTube channel. I partnered with them for that project. They do a lot of fan films.
All right. And so now, and this coming now, being from Memphis, it seems that this was the first time that I actually got an action movie in Memphis. For some reason, we get the legal dramas and all the other stuff, but no action films. So I mean, it seems that you know how to take the city and show the different character, the different parts of the city and the different personalities that the city has. The Memphis that we see in Shaolin Blues is different from the Memphis that we see in Space Cowboy. I mean, but I really loved how you were able to do that. I mean, did you, when it comes to scouting locations, do you already kind of have in mind where you want to go, or do you find yourself maybe just driving around the city looking for places?
So a little bit of both. With Space Cowboy specifically, I'm a big Cowboy Bebop fan, and I wanted to do my tribute to them. And like, I just thought that, so much of that show is like kind of bluesy, and like specifically that episode 6, Sympathy for the Devil, with the whole harmonica playing kid and everything. I just thought that like vibe. I was like, it's not really my budget right now to do some of the space things, like the sci-fi stuff, but I was like, but I think being in Memphis and like the downtown and everything, we could really nail that feel, because I think Memphis has like kind of a unique character to it like that, and I just thought it would complement each other nicely. So just being in downtown, and then we lucked out, we filmed our interior shots at this bar called B-Side inside Minglewood Hall.
Okay.
And they had like a cool, moody setup and everything, and it was just awesome. I was really happy with how that turned out look wise.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't even know. Well, mind you, because of recent events, I haven't been to Memphis in a couple of years, so I didn't even know about the B-Side. I'm like, okay, I got another place to visit when I'm back in town. So
yeah.
So so how did Shaolin Blues happen? Like, what was the concept? And did your initial vision and the final product match up?
Well, so it's kind of funny. Shaolin Blues, the original idea I had back in like 2018, when I kind of just started writing, I had this idea for an action film. It was totally different than Shaolin Blues, but kind of some of the same characters. Mm-hmm. And I had written it, and like I had made a bunch of different versions of the story, and then I just shelved it. I never did anything with it. Mm-hmm. And then when I moved back to Memphis, I had moved away for college, and then I came back. I started taking Kung Fu at the Bei Shaolin Kung Fu Institute. Mm-hmm. And that was when I just started getting into martial arts and stuff. And I thought I could apply it to my films. Well, then through that, I had done the Western and Space Cowboy, and I showed them to my teacher, and, he liked them, but he was like, man, I think your fight choreography, could use some work. And he was like, I'd love to help you. Why don't you have a Kung Fu teacher? Why don't you just ask me for help? And I was like, well, you're busy. I don't want to bother you, with my little I just didn't want to inconvenience him. But I was like, okay, but since you've expressed interest, like, yeah, let's talk about something. So that kind of got me thinking. And I pulled up that old script and some of those characters I liked. And I was like, well, what if instead of just action, I made it Kung Fu specific, set it in Memphis. And then like from there, that's kind of how the idea started. And so it kind of became its own thing. But I had like a starting point to jump off of from an old idea. And so I knew I wanted to do Kung Fu so I could feature the school, my teacher, and like other students we had. And then I also, again, there's not a lot of action films in Memphis. And I just think Memphis is so unique and cool. And like, I wanted to showcase our little side of the world. And like, if I had a bigger budget, there's lots of cool other things I think we could do in town. But yeah, there's like a lot of different sides. Like we filmed some of the outdoor stuff at the Memphis Botanic Garden.
Yes.
Which I think is beautiful. And like, people here know about it, but like, that's not something you think about. I think people like globally or like countrywide. And so like, I think if they see it, they'll be like, oh, that's kind of that's cool that is also in Memphis and these other things. And so I thought that, and this, again, the feel, kind of the same thing with Space Cowboy, like Memphis is just kind of this, like, it's got this bluesy rock and roll history, and like there's like the culture here, and like I thought that would meld so well with like paying tribute to these old like 70s kung fu action films that I love. Yes. Like melding the two. I just thought it was like a perfect like marriage, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you, this movie, it bears it. I've probably watched it, I know for sure twice, possibly 3 times in there. It's just, it's like, it makes me homesick, because I want to think that there's this whole other world where there's kung fu schools and these secret rivalries that go on that, other people would know they're going to their jobs and maybe hitting Beale Street and that sort of thing. But there's this whole other level of Memphis that people just don't know about. And And it's I have to tell you, man, it is an amazingly well-made 18 minutes of kung fu action that I thoroughly enjoy. And I can't tell you how many people I've said, you need to do yourself a favor, take about 20 minutes, sit down and watch this.
And well, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I'm serious, man. I mean, from the first shot, like that first shot of the pyramid and the Hernando de Soto Bridge, I'm just like, I can actually kind of smell the barbecue.
Yeah, I lucked out. I got that footage from another local filmmaker in town, Michael Butler Jr., and he got all that drone shot and stuff. And I remember I think he posted on his Instagram, and I messaged him, and I was like, "Yo, dude, I got this short film I'm working on. How can I buy some of that footage from you? Like, I think it would just like set the tone, because like I don't have a ton of Memphis iconic images throughout the film, other than like references and like dialogue and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like having that at the beginning and the score, I felt like introduced you to where you were at in like the world, and like that's kind of what I was hoping it would do, you know.
It did, man. And so now the way it ends, it feels like, well, it's not feels like, there's definitely more there. Like, apparently there's something going on with your uncle, your Shifu, and his connection to or at least the guy that was the former student that's with the 901 Kings. Are we going to see more?
That's what I want. We're working on a script right now to do. We've talked about developing it into a feature or doing a sequel, but maybe a little bit longer, like more of a 30-minute thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure which direction we're going to go with yet. A lot of it depends on funding. Mm-hmm. But right now I'm kind of leaning towards, because it just seems we could do it a lot quicker, would be just a direct sequel. Like, rather than remaking it into a feature, just sequel, pick up kind of right where we left off and continue that story and show some of the backstory. I think we maybe reintroduce some of that flashback element, I think, into the sequel, but show, Sifu John Lee's relationship with Logan and his entanglement with the 901 Kings, and kind of show how all that came to be. And then maybe it comes to a head, at the end. So maybe with the second one, I'd still like to leave it a bit open-ended if we wanted to continue, but maybe have more of there's some closure on it, where the first one really, I kind of left it hoping to do more.
So now could you for the people watching here, what fighting styles are featured in Shaolin Blues?
Well, so, in like the flashback scene when we're training, I mean, a lot of that is just stuff we do at my kung fu school, which is where my teacher, he teaches a Northern Shaolin long fist.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see some of that in the training sequences. We also have one of those Mukjong wooden dummies, which is like some Wing Chun stuff happening. And then within the fight scenes, I mean, there's a lot of that, but the way my teacher teaches martial arts, it's kind of like, you get taught the traditional, but then you get taught the real life application of it. And so we kind of used a lot of that real life application, which, I mean, you see, like, there's like I think it's Chin Na, like the joint manipulation and some of the takedowns and stuff. And so you see a lot of that in there, and then some just like classic, like, street fighting kind of things in it as well.
Yeah, that I have to admit that I was starting to wonder if when Logan hit you with that punch, it looked like reminded me a bit of like Hungar, the way he just boom, and I'm like, and all of a sudden I got a flashback to like I think it was a Tekken 7. Like there's this guy who's like a Hungar stylist, and his finishing move is like boom, and I'm like, so you got hit a lot. So
I did. I got actually hit a few times too.
So I guess that means that the fight choreography was definitely a bit more realistic this time around. Like,
Yeah, so like, with the high risk, high reward kind of thing, I wanted to look good. And my teacher, he's got a good sense of humor, but he's like, I like to think of myself as an actor, but this is the first time I've had him on set, and he's like, oh, Ryan's a martial artist. He needs the conditioning. Just hit him. It's fine. And
What
I'm like,
is it
whoa,
with
whoa,
Kung
whoa,
Fu stuff?
what are you talking about? I don't know about all this. Or like, some of the other guys we had in the fight scenes, it was like a mixture of like martial arts students and like some actor friends of mine.
Right.
And so like half the guys were like okay with getting hit, and the other half of guys I could tell were a little bit like, I don't know. I didn't realize we were actually going to be getting hit. And we didn't get hit a lot, but sometimes it happens, and you just gotta, just act natural, and you don't want to mess up the shot. So I just try to go with it. And then when they call cut, I'm like, oh, did it look good? Because then it was worth it. I think they say pain is temporary, film is forever. So I don't remember any of the bumps and bruises now in that film. Then I have the movie.
Right. Well, that's true. I think you can look at it like, what, that punch was totally worth it. That's a good shot. So
Yeah.
so man, so yeah, so you got anything new coming up that you're able to share? Or
Well, like I said, right now I guess I'm in sequel mode. So I've got some ideas for some new stuff I'm working on right now, but that's kind of like to be determined. But currently I'm trying to partner back up with Mason Studios. Our Space Cowboy movie did pretty well. And with the new Netflix coming out in November, I think we're going to try to shoot before the end of the year to get out a sequel to Space Cowboy. So, featuring Spike and Faye, and then maybe some of the other iconic characters from that show I'd like to bring into the mix, and show some other elements of Cowboy Bebop that we didn't show in the first one. And maybe if I can figure out how a little bit of that space element, I'm not sure yet. I'm still figuring it out, but that's something I'm definitely working on. And then, like I said a minute ago, Shaolin Blues, I'm working with my teacher. I know he's kind of gotten the film bug since we did that, and he wants to do more. And I'd like to do more, as much with him as I can. Cause I also, I'm still kind of new to the martial arts thing. I've been doing Kung Fu now for 3 years, and I dabbled in some other stuff here and there before that, but this has been my most committed thing. And, Sifu Kevin Miller, he's just like, I feel like I'm also kind of documenting history. Like he's an amazing martial artist. And like, I'm capturing some of that now on camera, and like,
right.
and in making the films with them, I feel like I've also learned a lot more than just from like in class setting. We spent a lot of one-on-one time to get to work on the scripts. And so like, as much time I can spend with him and the knowledge that I can try to like absorb like a sponge, I'm just trying to, be around as much as possible. So hopefully there'll be some sequels coming up. And then from there, I'll probably take a break from sequels and try to do some original works. Like there's an original idea I'm shooting around right now with a buddy of mine that maybe we're trying to shoot like next summer or something, but that I don't have too much to disclose on right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know what, dude, I'm a fan. I will definitely go. And because I wasn't just like the Western that you mentioned, it came up, but for like when I was looking up your stuff, but I wasn't sure if that was just like if it was there because it was tied to Mason. Because is that one tied to Mason? Because it looked like it was. That's not a Mason project.
No, so that was my first Blue Lion Pictures original film, and then so the only Mason Studios tied projects are the fan films, because that's kind of what his thing he likes to do. And so but the original ideas are under the Blue Lion YouTube umbrella.
Well, I will definitely go and check out your first movie. And
thank you. There's a lot that I wish I could, do differently now. You always are trying to learn, but there's a couple moments in some of the fight scenes that I think I'm proud of how they turned out, for having no idea what we were doing and just trying it. I think it turned out pretty well.
I mean, it's if you had to choose between filming something that you were doing and learning as opposed to something that never happened because you just sat and thought about it, I'd rather have this, because you took that experience and now here you are. So I mean, I'm gonna be, like I said, you got a fan, man. I'm gonna be supporting you all the way. So, well, plus
Well,
Memphis, so
exactly. We got the Memphis thing, but man, thank you so much. I mean, that means just so much to me. The fact that you were able to find that film and enjoy it, and and we could bond over the martial arts and Memphis and everything, and like it's crazy to me how the internet can like connect people and stuff. And what you said is 100% right. I mean, from starting this filmmaking journey, I still feel like I'm at the very beginning of it and still such a newbie and like trying to learn new stuff. But like since I went from sitting around waiting for things to happen to like doing things and just taking chances, and that's opened more doors for me than anything. So any advice I'd give to anybody would just be like, just do it. Just don't think about how, just do it. Yes. And then once you'll figure it out along the way, but it's the fear of not doing it right or not being ready or not being good enough that will make you stagnant. And like, you kind of are always playing catch up, and like, don't be afraid to be the, new guy and be learning and stuff. And you won't regret it. I haven't, at least yet.
Awesome, man. Well, dude, truth is, man, I could talk to you for like an hour and we probably would still find new stuff to talk about, but I know you're busy, but I would love to have you back on the show.
Yes, anytime. Just I'd be happy to come. We could talk about other movies or whatever. I'd love to be back on.
Awesome, man. Hey, man, it's gonna happen. So, hey, y'all. So this is it. Hope you enjoy your second mission, and just hit like and subscribe, and keep following me. Bye.